Let's hit it. Hey, welcome back to the podcast. Today, you're going to love this. I got one thing for you. Doc has got one thing for you. And it's your superpower. You have it, and you don't even know. Let's do that again. You have it, and you don't even know. But you're going to know. And IYK, if you know, you know.
Welcome to Just These Guys. You see how we roll. We got Mike on the mic.
We got Doc on the mic. Yeah.
Boom.
How are you?
I am doing well.
I'm excited about this. I get to share. I actually almost shared this on Sunday, but I thought, nope, I'm saving it for the podcast.
Man, I feel special.
This is a very special moment. If I don't say so myself. So a couple weekends ago, I was up in Nebraska, United States of America.
Wow.
You ever been in Nebraska?
I have not.
US of A. You've never been to Nebraska?
I have not been to Nebraska.
You're one state away.
I've been all around it. Flew over it.
You've never been?
I've never been.
Well,
they got a good commercial, though.
There are certain states that I would say, yeah, they do. That, well, you just need to get in your car and go. But it can wait. Although Nebraska is a great place. It's very nice, very clean. The people are very proud of their land. The crops they look good. There's no weed. It's a proud state.
This land is your land.
Mm-hmm. There's some corn huskers. So I was up there, and the reason that I was up there is I was officiating a wedding.
Oh.
And I was doing a wedding in Lincoln, Nebraska, and go up there on Friday.
Sure.
We had a wedding rehearsal, 6 o'clock wedding rehearsal. Everything went great. And the couple is, they're from there, but their family is back here. There's a family in the church. And so I was up there. I was enjoying it because I knew several people there.
Sure.
Because of the folks, that number of folks that come to Grace Point. And so we have the wedding rehearsal and everything goes great. Go back to the hotel after the rehearsal dinner. Have a great evening. I used to travel a lot on the road.
Right.
And so I've spent a lot of time just hanging out in hotel rooms. It was nice just to kind of just reflect. I was reflecting on the amount of time I spent out on the road. And while I get a little bored quickly, I do enjoy it. I was taking a moment. I kept mindfully saying, okay, this is your moment to exhale and relax. You don't have any responsibilities other than this wedding. This is the one thing you have to be concerned with up here, but just enjoy the rest of it. I was intentionally using some of the things that we talk about, controlling the mind. I was enjoying myself. I was having 30-second moments of peacefulness. and so we get through the night. The room was a little expensive because it was the university graduation weekend.
Oh, that's right.
But what made up for the ridiculously expensive room was the amazing continental breakfast. I'm telling you, the powdered eggs, the bacon that I'm not real sure if it's bacon or not, but it was good. It was good. It was good. I was determined to make this continental breakfast a good breakfast. So in the morning, what's happening is I'm enjoying my morning, but one thing that I'm stressing about just a tiny little bit is the fact that I hadn't yet received the groom's homework. See, here's what I love to do with wedding ceremonies is I'll give the bride and the groom a homework assignment, and I tell them to send me 3 things that they love about each other and 1 favorite memory, and then I'll use it in the ceremony. And oftentimes it's the favorite part of the ceremony for people. And the bride, no, I'm not calling the groom out here, but because it happens.
Yeah.
We get busy. We get really wrapped up in wanting it to be just right. And we just can't get it written out. Some of us are better thinkers and talkers than writers. And so that can kind of be a stumbling block for some people. And most of the time it's the guys.
Right.
So I'll get either something really short and I got to kind of figure out how to make it a little better, but she had written out something that was amazing. And I wanted so badly to use it, but if I wasn't going to get his homework, I wasn't going to be able to use hers.
Sure.
I can't just say I gave him an assignment and then he didn't do it. So anyway, I'm sitting there and every now and then I'm looking at my phone, waiting for that email to come in. Because at the rehearsal, we talked about it and he said, yeah, just be looking for that email. You're going to get it. And so I'm looking every now and then. And so here pretty soon I'm laying there. I don't know what I had the TV on. I don't remember what I was watching, but I'm laying there and all of a sudden, ding, my phone, ding. I'm like, there we go. And I look over at it and expecting it to be the email from him. It's a text from her. It's a text from her that says, have you thought about a ceremony for the ceremony?
A ceremony for the ceremony.
So go with me.
Okay.
Have you thought about a ceremony for the ceremony that's not a sand ceremony or a knot tying ceremony? So within the ceremony, there's a little moment where the bride and the groom, they go over to this table and they end up, there's a song that plays and one has a little sand and they pour in and the other has a little sand they pour in and it makes this real pretty little design. And it signifies them coming together. And then there's a third sand that the pastor pours on top, and it's the white sand, or it's a knot tying. It's a little ceremony within the ceremony that requires some planning. Okay, so I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I just get a text from the bride saying, "Have you thought about?" It's the day of the wedding.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's the day of, and I'm not at home, and you got to go find in Lincoln, Nebraska. This is what's going through my head. Are you kidding me? You couldn't have said something the night before?
Sure.
Even at the reception, you couldn't have said something. There was even a table under the arch that myself and the stepdad of the groom, we looked at each other and we said, "Are we using that table for something?" And we said, "No, I don't think so." And I was even thinking to myself, I guess I should have said something to her. Mm-hmm. I guess we're using the table. There's going to be a little ceremony. So all I did was I immediately texted her back. I said, "Can I call you?" And so,
can we talk about this? She
says, "Yes." And so I call her up. She answers, "Hello." And I said, I just immediately started talking. I said, I guess I just completely missed, because in my mind I'm thinking, well, I don't want to stress her out on her wedding day. If I completely drop the ball on this, I just need to own it, and we need to just figure this out.
Right.
And so I'm saying, I guess I just completely dropped the ball on this. I kind of remember you saying something about this, but I thought we had decided that we weren't going to do anything like that. We're going to just keep it nice and simple. I did see the table. I'm just talking. I did see the table, and I thought, I don't know, are we using that table for something? I even talked to the groom's stepdad about it. But I guess I should have said something to you. And then pretty soon she says, "Wait a minute. What?" and then I thought, she says, "Are we talking about the same wedding?" It was my niece. My niece with the same name.
Oh.
My niece with the same name in my phone.
Sure.
Pops up. All I'm thinking about is this wedding that I'm doing that day.
Right.
And this, have you thought about, I'm officiating my niece's wedding in October. And she was asking about a ceremony within the ceremony that we had talked about. And no, I haven't figured that one out yet, but that's not till October. And so I have jumped to this conclusion.
Sure.
And what I didn't do was I didn't just pause. Pause. This may be the key to success, in every situation that we are thrown into that is a stressful situation. So we can go back to the 30-second rule. But the biggest thing is when she said, "What? Hey! Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I have had so many conversations, and I'm just going to kind of tie this in and we'll see where we can go with this. I've had so many conversations over the last 2, 3, 4 weeks or so. It seems like there are more and more and more, where when I tell somebody, do you know that you control what you think? They say, wait, what? What? It's like all these moments that you're having where you're panicking, and these moments where you feel out of control.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, like I had the full on in that moment, I had the full on, like the sweat instantly hit me. Like when your skin, all of a sudden it fits you, your hair's tingling. I'm sitting there, wait a minute, what? What? I got to look for what? And it wasn't even that. It wasn't even the situation that I thought it was. And yet I was just like, I was pacing through the room, and I was going, okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And if I'd have just paused and actually looked at it, it said, I'm trying not to say the name, but underneath it had the initials.
Sure.
If I would have just looked at the initials, I would have realized it's not the same person. And if I'd have paid attention to the area code, there were so many clues right in front of me that I could have just gone, oh, wait a minute, that's my niece. This is, okay, chill. Good grief. Instead, I had about 15 to 20 minutes of panic. Yeah, where I'm trying to talk to her, and I'm, because it was a good 10 minutes before I actually called her.
Sure.
And
so a good 10 minutes of panic before.
Yeah, because I wanted to get my thoughts in order. I wanted to figure out how to let her down easy. And we're not going to have that little ceremony within the ceremony. It's not going to happen. I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska. You got to order this stuff on Amazon most of the time.
Sure.
But I'm walking around just freaking out.
I'm going down to a cement supply store to get sand.
Yeah. Colored sand. You could probably get it at Hobby Lobby, I'm sure. But where's Hobby Lobby in Lincoln? Now, the good news is I did end up getting his homework.
All right.
Yep. And so it all worked out beautifully. It was a beautiful ceremony. The day was beautiful. The beautiful bride and groom. The wedding party was a blast. But yeah, that in that moment, it just reminds me that, okay, we have more control than what we think, but we just got to pause. Just pause. Don't let a single moment or event dictate now everything that's going on, because it might not be what you think.
The 30, you referenced the 30-second relaxation technique that we did a few weeks ago, a little video together. I teach that to people for that specific reason. Because, over the past year and a half, you've really done all this hard work to really grasp the 4 fundamentals. What do I have control over? What do I not have control over? Let me concentrate my energies on the things I do control this moment in time, what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, what I'm feeling. Number 2, shoulds, perspective versus preference. Perspective. Is it a law? Do we have to? Or is this a preference that I would like? Yeah. Fundamental number 3, worry versus planning versus dreaming. And fundamental number 4, don't want, do want. Negative thinking versus positive thinking. And our thinking happens so fast that we're running down the automatic roads that have been laid down in our mind over the years, just within the blink of an eye. Yeah. And so the 30-second relaxation technique, it's obviously a good way to relax, but I ask people to practice that about 30 times a day. Yeah. And this is why. When I was in college and I was playing ball, Sounds good, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I was in college,
Mm-hmm.
and I was playing on a softball team.
Intramural.
When I was in college playing ball, when I was playing ball in college, but I was in the outfield, and I'm pretty fast, so they would hit the ball, and Lance was always out there making these beautiful diving catches. And the coach pulled me aside and said, "I need you to do something for me." I said, "What's that?" And he goes, "You got to stop running around so much." I said, "What do you mean? I made this beautiful catch." He goes, "Yeah, but it wouldn't have been a spectacular catch had you stood still."
Quit making it challenging on purpose.
So what was happening was they would hit the ball into the outfield, and I would take off running up towards the ball, but here it goes sailing over my head. So I go, stop, turn around, run, dive, and catch it. And so he said, whenever you hear the crack of the bat, I want you to run in place 3 steps. And he said, to make this work, it can't be when the ball's coming to the outfield. It has to be every single time you hear the crack of a bat, you run in place 3 times. So when it is hit into the outfield, the first thing you do is stand still. You stay in place. What did you say earlier? Pause. Pause so that you can then kind of get a bead on where that ball is going. How high is it going? What is the trajectory? What is the speed of the ball? So take 3 steps and then decide what to do about it. And after he told me that, there's no more spectacular catches because I'd run in place 3 times and the ball come right to me.
Yeah. Run around in circles. What I pictured when you first said that was you running and catching the ball right in front of the right fielder when he's standing there, just standing there. Same thing, left fielder.
Yeah, do that too. I got it.
You got to let the other guys play a little.
Pop up into the infield. Here comes the center fielder.
You are fast.
And that's what that breathing exercise is when anything happens, the first thing I want people to do is take a breath into their belly. First, control the body. Second, control the mind by just clearing it out for a second.
Yeah.
So take a breath in. Okay. And in that moment, you choose something peaceful to think about or something unimportant. I will gladly pay you to stay for a hamburger today. Now you're a bit calmer. Now control the situation. First, control the body. Second, control the mind. Third, control the situation. And as I was listening to you explain what occurred, you're laying there kind of a little stressed. The guy hasn't texted you with his stuff yet. And the message comes in. So you see the name. Yeah. And that's the wife to be. Yep. The bride to be. And you're distracted by him. You're thinking about him. So when you see a name, of course, she's the one that's going to come to your mind. Right. And when you read what you read, it was wedding. Your brain took off automatically going down. This is today's wedding. Yep. And then from there, it filled in all sorts of nightmares. Oh, yeah. What if this? What if this? What if this? Not going to be able to do that. Not going to be able to do that. Not going to be able to do that. And those fundamentals, they should have told me this a week ago. Right. All those fundamentals started coming in. Yep. And so you kind of wrap this all up with you control what you think. And not everybody, but people who've studied the fundamentals get that. Sure. But what they don't get is that very first second is that when you start the engine, when you start the brain, it's going to run like it normally does. And if you're not careful, it's going to run the old way. The worries, and so you have to take control every single second. Take captive every thought. Wait. What? And, you said you control what you think about. You want to blow people's minds? You control how you think. Yeah. Not only what, but how. There you go. Yeah, that's good. And step one is the superpower. That is. And it's in the palm of your hands. And it's been here the whole time.
It's right between your ears.
The whole time, your superpower has been right here. The entire time.
That's crazy to think. And for me, the lesson that I learned was that pause, that moment, in that when anything first hits you, you control whether or not it goes out of control, or maybe it. So let's just say it was her, and that I was now on the hook. Well, what are we going to do? We're going to think about it for a minute. We're in a controlled way, and I'm going to be doing probably a few of these 30-second pauses, and then we figure it out. Stuff always has a way of working itself out. But what I did was we jump to conclusions because we are busy either creating realities that aren't reality, or we are busy. What we do is we spend way too much time. And when I say we, because I'm still included there, I'm doing better, but I'm still included, trying to control what they're thinking. Now I'm thinking what she's thinking. And I think I know what she's thinking. And it ain't even her.
Sure.
Talk about out of control. You talk about a city without walls being out of control. What is it again? The proverb?
It is a man without self-control is like a city without walls.
Exactly. These walls had just come down. Because I jumped to that conclusion so quickly. I didn't pause.
And I mentioned Sunday before we got on the air. Sunday is a good example of control, because on the stage you were talking and the audience went silent, and I saw you smile and say, I used to be uncomfortable with that silence, but now I know that you're thinking. Mm-hmm. And I said that in that moment, I observed you exhibiting the total self-confidence, the self-control, the self-identity. It was defined. It was strong. They were having a reaction to what you were saying that wasn't per se positive, and it wasn't anything that you would expect, like an audience to give positive feedback to us, yay! And they weren't sitting there smiling. They were all flat-faced as you were saying what you were saying, but you were separated from them. You were individuated, and you were able to look out at the audience as a separate entity from you and read and respond to what was going on with them. And it wasn't impacting you personally. Mm-hmm. It was, I just said something powerful. Look at their response. Whereas 5 years ago, it might have been, I just said something and now nobody's responding. Oh my God. And there would have been a bit of nervousness about, do they like what I say? Are they thinking about it? Will they all come back next week?
Yeah.
But that's what happened on Sunday was that but going into Sunday, you were prepared. You were geared up. You're like, okay, I'm going to give this sermon. The audience is going to be responding to what I say. And so you were kind of psyched up and ready to go. Saturday in the hotel, you're not turned on. Mm-hmm. You're just sitting there thinking about this, thinking about that, waiting on the email to come in, and it slid right through. The fear, the worry, the doubt, because you weren't anticipating it. And that's why Paul said, take captive every thought.
Yeah.
Because when our guard is down, that's when things start to get slippery. And you're right. You were, you jumped to a whole lot of conclusions. Your mind was primed for the wedding by waiting on him. You saw the name, so you immediately went to that wedding and did not notice the initials below, did not notice the phone number with a different area code. Mm-hmm. And your mind took off on what was going to happen, and it took off in a worrisome, fearful direction until you were having the conversation with the person and they said, wait, what?
Wait, are we talking about the same thing? And then we both had a really good laugh. So that superpower The superpower that we have is that we control not just what we think, but how. That the way we have always thought doesn't have to be the way we think moving forward.
Well, you've seen that smart aleck sign in places where it says, an emergency on a mistake on your part is not an automatic emergency on my part.
Mm-hmm.
And where that's very smarmy, but also there's, truth in it.
Mm-hmm.
You've been preparing for this wedding for a couple weeks, couple months.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. This is what we're going to do. This is the plan. We just all met the night before. Now she's calling with a change.
Mm-hmm.
No. I mean,
yeah, a change, but my issue was a change that I could have missed. I've missed them before. So it wasn't really a change as much as it, but the reality is I was creating this whole scenario that wasn't even there.
When I was going to say, that's the great, your idea to pause.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did I miss something?
Right.
Or is this a new addition to the plan?
Right.
So stop right there.
Mm-hmm.
Any thought after that?
Yeah, let's figure that out first.
Right, because any thought after that is going to be insanity.
Right.
You will begin reading their mind. And
oh yeah, it was. I did.
Let's get all the facts first. Let me
Right.
call her.
Yep.
Hey, is this? Did I miss something? Has this been going on for a few weeks, and I've just been a space cadet, or is this a new addition?
Mm-hmm.
And depending on her answer.
Exactly.
It could have gone, if it was been in there for 2 or 3 weeks. Okay. Well, do you already have the sand?
Yep.
Because I didn't bring any.
Yeah. And so pause and ask the key questions.
Pause, gather the facts.
Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. So many scenarios out there are, it's one reality in reality, but completely different in our minds. And if we would just have those simple conversations, just to gather a few facts, it changes everything. Literally with one question. Who is this?
Who are you?
It could have eliminated a whole lot of crazy.
And the other element to that was why it's so important for us to work on ourselves is that when people talk to us or when things occur, a lot of times we put on it or into what they're saying, what we're thinking and feeling,
Mm-hmm.
not just a confused moment here like that, but I was working with some people a few years ago, and the dad said to the mother that the kids could use more discipline, and you saw the mother's eyes just well up, and she began to cry, and she said out loud, "So you're saying I'm a horrible mother?"
Mm-hmm.
And those were not the words at all.
Right.
And so she was putting into the conversation insecurities, worries, fears that she had.
Sure.
But she was attributing them to the other person in the statement.
Mm.
And we do that a lot.
Yeah. It's true.
And we can do that positively too, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah.
But look, they're all looking at me. They think I'm good looking.
Mm-hmm.
We do that, people think we're insane. But if they're all looking at me, is my fly undone? People identify with that. We walk around and worry and fear and doubt and insecurity all day, every day, 90%.
And we're the only ones thinking about it.
Sure.
We think everybody's thinking about it, and we're the only ones thinking about it.
Great story, Mike. I'm glad you
Superpower.
brought that in, our superpower.
Well, I hope it's helpful for somebody to just take a moment today, and it might not be what you think it is. So pause,
Wait,
gather
what?
a few facts.
Wait a minute. What's going on? Pause.
Wait.
Take a breath.
What?
Slow it down.
Yep. You control you. That's the best news we might get all day long.
Definitely.
I control me. You control you. Now let's do what we do.
Boom.
Thank you, Doc. It is always a good day. Tuesday mornings.
Thank you guys for tuning in to this week of Just These Guys, I'm Dr. Parker.
And I'm Mike.
We will catch you guys next week.
Have an awesome week.